Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Andy of ASM Property Services. ASM are my initials, so I am a sole trader, don't work for any companies, I work for myself. I do quite a bit of property services for people, one of which is decorating. Now today, besides drinking tea, as you can see, always start with a tea, we are going to be doing a feature wall kind of thing across here. And you can't see this, but there's one across there as well. And you may have noticed behind me is where the radiator was. Now we've had to put some lining paper in. Didn't know the thickness of what was on the wall. Basically took a piece off, felt it, bearing in mind it's been painted a few times, and chose 2000 grade lining paper, and it's not far off, pretty damn close is that. Running your fingers over it now, there's no ridges in it. Had to put a tiny bit of filler in, just to feather it in, because obviously when the wallpaper goes over the top of this, we don't want to see that behind it. Still a little bit of drying out to do, it's not dried out properly. Still feel it's a little bit damp in places. So we're going to have to leave it a bit longer, but what we'll be doing is setting the wall up ready for the wallpaper. Now when you ever do a feature wall, big ones like this, little ones, doesn't matter where you're doing them, always start in the centre, and you need to make sure you've got a line in the centre as you work to the edges then. Same principle with tiling as well, and a lot of other things you do in a trade. It's always central, it's how the eye hits the eye when you're looking at the wall, especially with patterned wallpaper and things like that. So what we need to do is find a centre, so I'll move the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Have another drink of tea. So, propelling pencil, get one, saves sharpening it. What you need to do is take a measurement, wall to wall. Okay, so that is 483 centimetres. So if you're good at maths, which some people are, some people aren't, you need to find half of that. So that would be 241 and a half, if I'm not correct. So what you need to do is 200 actually guessed it, so I'm going to move the camera here and show you the line that I drew here without measuring. It's there. My centre line's there. Just get me it over here, look at this. Moving you towards where I put mark centre. There you go, I've written centre there and drawn a line there. That's with no measuring, nothing. But this is where it landed. So that's what I'm saying about how your eye sees everything. The first thing you're drawn to is the centre. Didn't even use a tape measure for that. Now, to make sure you cock on, is you measure the other way. this is where you do measure twice, wallpaper once. Cock on that. Now, I'm going to use a laser level, but if you don't have one, you need a level. Now this is a special level. It is a ruler, it is a straight edge, it does quite a lot of things. Has a detachable level there in the handle, comes out, see? It does all the different angles here. You can have little holes there for sizing your drills, but them can also be used to draw circles. Let me show you something else. It also has these handy little slides that go on it, that just slide on. Say if you were hanging a picture, this is nothing to do with decorating. Put them on. Say if you're hanging a picture or something, starts at 0 in the middle, has a centre line there. Line them up with your hooks on the back of the picture. Level it. And you can just mark there. Then you've got 2 marks where you need to put your hangers. Simple. Now we're not using it for that today. We're going to remove these. Put it on there. So what I'll do is I'll move the camera again. So there's my marks there. This is the one I'm looking for. And once you've leveled it, draw a line. Top to bottom, go all the way to the bottom, all the way to top, but you get the idea, don't you? Because this is a long ruler, you get to, now if you look at where you join there in the paper, yeah, do the same at the bottom. Sure it's level. That's your centre line. Now, the other way of doing it is to use laser level. Switch it on for a second. When the light's green on top, that means it's level. But I can just show you. You can see the, I'll come to this side so you can see it better. So this is the laser level on a camera tripod. As you can see, I've lined it up with a line that I've made on the wall. and that's level now. Got a couple of sockets to do either side. We'll get around to them in a bit. We're going to start the wallpapering soon, so here we go. So guys, this is what we're going to do. Like I said, we start from the centre of the wall because that's what your eye catches the first. Now I've set my laser level up. Just so you know, this laser level cost me 22 quid off Amazon, and it's absolutely brilliant. The only thing is you can't switch the horizontal line off. Some of them you can do that on the more expensive ones, I should imagine, but it does do a decent vertical line. Now that's where I put my mark. I'm going to leave it there. Just wants a little bit of adjustment. This is only to find your straight edge, so just get a little. Probably see it moving quite a bit there as I'm walking. I'm on a laminate flooring, so it does kind of move about a lot, but we don't need that yet. What we're going to do, basically, now you've got that set up, keep standing in the way of the level, is to take a measurement how much wallpaper you need. And allow a couple of inches, so it's about 87 inch. And all you need to do is transfer that to the wallpaper. Now, if you don't have one of these, get one. It's a propelling pencil. I don't know if you used them at school, the little ones with the thin, really thin leads. These have got really thick pieces of lead, and you can get them in different grades as well, depending on what you're doing. But I've never had to sharpen my pencil again on a job. However, I do hold on to these like gold dust because I don't want to lose them, because one of the bad habits I have is losing my pencils. So yeah, get one of these, make sure you keep it safe. Right, that being said, let's move the camera. So I've got my wallpaper there. An easy way of doing this is your paste table is 70 inches long, right? So we said 87 inches, so that would be 17 inches on top of 70. So if you place a mark on your table there, you'll see why in a minute. Now, I've already done this, mark this out, this paper. So what you do is roll your paper to the edge and get it right in a minute. Make sure it's right up against the top edge of the table. I don't know whether you can see that, I might have to move the camera. Now you can't see that, can you? So there you go. I've put the edge of the top to the top of the table there. Now what I'm going to do is bring this across to my mark, which is here. Now you can just use a pencil to mark it off. Now one of the things we do next is just bring it in a bit so you can see a little bit better, is I put my finger there to get the crease. Now you can see where I put the tear, can't you there? I don't know if you can see that. I actually put a tear in it at the bottom. I rolled the wallpaper out on the wall first. But if you're using a tape measure, which sometimes is better, then you can just leave a mark on your table. You don't have to keep measuring. And what you're doing here is you're levelling the paper up to the edge there, because what you want is a nice straight cut there. Now, I used to have a pair of wallpaper shears and I can't find them because I've moved house quite a bit. And obviously sometimes you lend your equipment out and don't get it back, so I think that might be what have happened there. These household scissors, you probably find them in your drawer, but they're really sharp. Now this is one way of doing it, just cutting along the edge like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you see what I'm saying, if you want a nice level edge at that edge, doing this. So, next thing, pasting. I have a bucket of paste. This is my white bucket. I use one of these to stir it and mix it, and I use a roller. Now, I'll show you what I do. If you remove your little weight there, the wallpaper might spring back. It's actually staying in place. Start in the middle. Get a nice squat. There you go, the wallpaper's moved. Bring it into the edges like that. And across. Making sure you've got some on the edges. Now, some decorators will use a brush. If you've got any bits in your paste, get them out because you don't want them showing. Again, straight down the middle and side to side. Making sure you've got it in the edges. Try and get your paste as even as possible, that's why I use a roller. And straight down the middle and side to side. And you can actually see the paste soaking in. Now, a lot of people don't know this, they have hooks there. Try and keep it like that, because if you leave this inside there, it starts to rust at the end there, and you get little rust particles in your paste, and it makes it go brown, which isn't good, and it doesn't take long for it to do that. Now, what you need to do is you need to fold the paper over like that. One swift movement, it's like making a bed that. Then you've got the next section to do. Again, straight down the middle, side to side. It's got a little bit of in there. One of the things I see quite a lot of people doing is they just leave that open. Don't do that, fold it over, and you'll see why in a minute. Important. Keep the edges of your paste table clean, because you will end up with paper. Throw your water bottle out. This is what the water bottle's for, by the way. One of the things. So, you're waiting for something to dry. Make sure the edges of your table are clean. Otherwise, your paper will stick to the board and you'll end up with marks on your paper, and you don't want that. So what we need to do is let that soak in, and then we'll transfer it to the wall. So the ceiling's not very high in this, it's actually a converted garage this. So I have some step ladders here, so I'm going to place them here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to start at this side of the line, but actually no, I'll actually have to start there so you can see the laser line. And I'll do my best to try and stand out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. But first thing you need to do is make sure your hands are clean. If you've got any dirt on your hands or anything, you need to get rid of it. make sure you have a sharp blade in your knife. I use a Stanley knife type thing. This is a what I call a skeleton handle. Really lightweight, it folds up nice and easy in your pocket. Has a little belt clip on the side. I picked these up from bargain stores because I keep losing them. I've spent £20 on knives in the past, Stanley knives, proper Stanley knives, and I've just lost them. And of course when you work at people's houses they never tell you when you've left your tools behind. But these, £2 or £3, if that, they're not expensive and they do last quite a while. I mean, I've had this one quite a while and it's really easy to use. It's got a little clasp there to undo the blade. The blade just pops out, really easy to change. I mean, there are retractable knives. Some decorators prefer to use retractable knives. I do use them as well. However, I've found these a lot easier to use, so I use these. Have a pack of blades. These are by Blue Spot. I used to sell these blades on eBay. Got into trouble for selling them because apparently it's prohibited item on eBay. But I picked these up for around £7 or £8 a pack. Normally £22, £25 in the shops for proper Stanley blades. Same thing. Blue Spot. Just Google it. If you do want some, I can get some, and I can open up a shop on Instagram or something like that and start selling them again. As long as you're over 18, I can prove you that, and I'll quite happily sell you some for around £7 or £8 a pack. Cheap. There's 100 in a pack there. You can't go wrong. And a nice dispenser as well. Same as the thing. Just slide them out. Just give it a bit of a shake. They'll slide out. Well, they're supposed to slide out. It slides out, trust me. There we go. It slides out there, and your blades come out. Keeps them nice and safe and all together. If you leave them loose in your toolbox, you'll slice your fingers apart. Trust me, I've done that. Right, ready for the paper. Now, we know what the top is because I folded the bottom over. So, I'm kind of working the wrong way around, but I'm trying to do this so you can see what I'm doing anyway. So, what you need to do is kind of line it up. And make sure you just see that there. I've got into the ceiling slightly. So, you can just slide it up with your hand very gently. Don't be forceful with the paper. Treat it like a baby. And I'm starting to line it up with the laser. So that's basically replaced the plumb line. I've never used plumb lines that much. Can't be bothered with them. Once you've got it on, you can start smoothing it out. So I'm pushing the paste to the top there first, and in a diagonal motion from the centre downwards, bringing it down like this. You can see what's happening. I'm pushing the paste to the edges and it's flattening this out completely to the wall. Now you may remember me tucking the paper under there. What does that do? Move these ladders out of the way. Bring the camera down so you can see exactly what this does. This has stopped that sticking to the bottom. Nothing worse than getting halfway down, finding out you've left that stuck to the bottom and now you can't do it with it because the paste has started drying. So that's why we do that. So what we're going to do, we don't know whether you can see the laser line moving when I'm walking about. It's a good idea not to try and walk about. Is again, diagonal motions down. Basically it's like a chevron. If you imagine a chevron. And I'm smoothing the paper out. Really easy. Now, the more experience you get, the quicker you'll get at doing this. Once you get down to a decent level, you just need to pull the bottom off. And trust me, your paper won't rip. Yeah, just be gentle, treat it like a baby, your paper won't rip. I know people are gonna start criticising, oh, you shouldn't do it that way. Well, I'm doing it my way, you do it your way. And let's see the results, shall we? That's what I say. Now, last bit, this is behind the radiator, so just a little bit of paste missing there. If you do miss any bits of paste, just get your paste bucket and a little brush out. Brush and make sure you get some paste in the edge, and again bring down. And what you need to do is you need to get your squeegee and force it down right into the edge of the skating board. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but this has been spliced together quite badly, and it's a little step there, so we'll get around that in a minute. Now, here comes the fun bit. I'm going to do this at the bottom. You can do this at the bottom or the top. This is a straight edge. Now, you can see that it's got a slight recess here along there. So what we need to do is hold this against the wall like that and hold it down quite firmly and make sure the back edge is touching the wall. Once you've got it, again remember that there's a slight thing where you might drag the paper. It's just to run your knife along the bottom. Paper might rip, as I said, this is where the bump was, but it kind of come off quite easily there. It's just ripped a little bit there where the knife's not gone quite through. There is a bit of a bad filling there by somebody, but it's a bit of a funny shape as the wall as well, so it's just a little bit sticking out there. I'm not happy with that. Basically trimming it, getting rid of any paper you don't want basically. Now we need to do the same at the top. So I'm going to change the blade now. Do the same at the top. So again, I'm using the straight edge and I'm running my knife along the top there. And then away like that. You get a nice straight edge there. Another way of doing it is just to run your knife steadily along. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you've no experience with decorating because it's real difficult, and there is actually a special one that's on a wheel that you can do that with and follow the edge if the ceiling's a bit uneven, but the best way is to keep your edges as straight as possible. If you're happy with it, it's a case of, again, it's just popped out there a bit. You got any bits that need doing? Great. So now you've done that, you need to get the second one on. So to do that, we're gonna get a bit of stuff out of the way. We need to match it up. So what I need to do is find out where the edge is there. That's where it is, and I'm just going to put a crease in the top there with my finger. Don't really you can see that, the crease, and I'm going to allow myself another inch above that to give me something to trim off. Then we transfer this to the paste table again. Now you remember the mark that I left on? What you want is the crease. So I don't know whether you can see that, but that's the crease there. So I'll put that to the edge of the table. Make sure my camera doesn't fall off. I'm using one of those bendy tripod things, which is a little bit annoying because I'm trying to attach it to my laser level now. My laser level's going, no, don't do that. Right, so I've got my mark there. Roll the paper out. Now remember what I said about cleaning the table now. Bring it back across. Marks there. Bring your paper back across. Leveling it back up with the edge of the paper. That's the edge of the roll, not this edge. And that will give you a level playing field. Now, another way of cutting this would be to use your knife, depending on how many blades you've got. Keep losing them. And you just simply put your knife in. And run it into the crease. Very simple. Another skillful job there. Once you've done that, bring your paper forward, remembering where you left your crease there, and come in about an inch. Do that. Bring this piece over. Fold it over. Another thing you can do is use your straight edge. Just bring it into the camera a bit now, that's what I'm doing. Get your straight edge on it. If you want a nice level one, run your knife along. There you go. Simple as that. Leave your knife there if you want. And again, from the middle. And back out. Fold it over there. So while you're waiting for this one to soak in, making sure it's not creased or anything, is just to place it somewhere safe. What we're going to do now is do this side. So using example of how much wallpaper you use on the job. That's where it is. It needs to be, again, putting a crease in it. Put my crease to the edge of the table. And then I'm going to roll these out. Is you match up where you need to match it up, and you start sliding the paper across to get the butt joint. Now I've immediately noticed a problem there. There's a little bit of paper there. Now I did sand the wall. Start again, there's another piece there. You want this kind of wallpaper is unforgiving when it comes to bumps and lumps. And what you're doing is bringing the edges together. And again, sponge helps do this. So what I'm doing now is using a sponge. Here's another thing to do now. So what we've got here is where the radiator brackets are going. So I've left the screw in deliberately so I know where it is. So let's pop this camera up here so you can see what we're doing here. What we need to do is get the paper down. Get that crease out. Then with your finger, just hold your finger there, and if the screw will come out, which it's not doing, that's not good. Screwed it in too much. So just remove the screw a bit. There we go. Just needed a bit of a nip. So these should have been hand tight. I must have screwed them in a little bit. So I'm pulling that out, and then I'm moving my finger across where the hole is, and there we go. There's the hole. Push the screw back in. Take the screw back out. Go to the next one. So this is what I was saying about moving. You just run your fingers underneath it. Again, put your finger where the screw is. Again, I'll tighten that one in. So you know where the hole is. You can feel the hole with your finger. Put the screw back in. Get the screw back out. So we've got the radiator valve here. What you need to do is feed the paper down as much as you can. Building it off. So to do this, again, you need to mark it. So there's the pipe there. So what we need to do is I'm just going to basically mark this so you can see what I'm doing. Put in a little mark there. Bring you back up again. So that mark is what we need to cut. So I'm just going to that, and then basically push the paper around it. And screw it up. So get a nice neat edge there. Remember what I said about the sponge, just moving the paper around with the sponge. Like that. What I do is making sure the paste is off it, because when you leave your paste to dry on this type of paper, it does tend to leave a shiny mark. So again, what we need to do is trim this. Now, what you need to do is line it up with the paper next to it. Now, I can't quite get that in there, so to go either side of it. Go out. Let's see if we do this bit now. There we go. Good job. So this is basically the same, just work from left to right. Swiveling it off and we're going around. Right, you might notice there's a little bit of a gap there, so this is where the sponge comes in very handy. All I'm doing is putting a little bit of pressure across to close the gap up. Do the same on the other side, being very gentle. Now, like I said, there's a bit of play in the actual thing, but again, you need to use your sponge to wipe it down to get rid of the paste that may have oozed out anyway, and just close these gaps up. You can also, if you've overlapped slightly as well, you can also move them backwards and forwards. There you go. So guys, 3 pieces of wallpaper. Now that might have taken a little bit longer because I need to stop and explain what I'm doing, but you've kind of got the idea how to get around the radiator. We've got a couple of sockets to do, I'll get to them in a bit. So what I'm going to do is going to leave you for now. I'm going to crack on with the wallpapering on here now so I can get a bit more done, and then we'll come back to the video shortly. So there you go guys. Feature wall. 2 sockets done on either side. and we're going to put the radiator back now. So down the edges, cut it off with a knife, and then I've touched it back up with paint because that's a matte finish paint, and the wallpaper paste tends to soak in and it reacts with the paint a little bit. So I've painted back over it, cut it in. It also gets rid of any rough edges if you've got any, but I just run the knife down, no straight edge or anything. I do it freehand, follow the wall, make sure it's level in with the wall, and then obviously, like again, touch it up with the paint around the sides. So guys, like I say, that's the wall behind me. Hope you enjoyed this video. That's me doing a feature wall in this house, and it looks pretty good if I don't say so myself. Might remember the, like I said, we're going to put the radiator back here with spliced some paper in here. Can't hardly see it. Feels okay, so yeah, top job. Well pleased with it, if I'm completely honest. I'd pay myself for it, put it that way. So anyway, hope you got something out of this video. Like I said, thank you for subscribing to the channel and liking the video. If you haven't done so already, just smash that like button. And also everybody who's buying me a coffee at the moment, it's much appreciated. We're all a bit thirsty in the trades, so it's always a good idea to buy someone a coffee sometimes. Don't have to, I'm just saying. Do appreciate everybody who's supporting the channel at the moment. So thanks for watching, hope you've got something out of this video. Like I said, top job, and yeah, catch you in another video soon. Thanks for watching.